Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Coming at you with another live segment for the live segment of the Sauce Podcast with AJ Reygadas. I got my guest here with me. I'm really excited to talk shop with him today. Let me just I'll jump right into it. Art, let's introduce yourself, bro. Tell me who you are, how long you've been in the business. Just let everybody know who you are.
Awesome. Well, good morning. I hope folks are tuning in, and thanks, man, for having me on the show. It's a super cool opportunity. This is my first podcast.
Oh, no shit.
So
hell yeah. Okay, here we go.
Too much.
Yeah.
I'll try not to talk too fast and offend anybody, and if I do, I'm really not sorry.
Welcome to America, bro. That's what I'd say.
Get some thicker skin. AJ's mentioned it. I'm Art Fernandez. Funny quick story real quick is I've known AJ for what, 15 years?
A long time.
A long time. It took me over 12 years to realize he was also an Arturo. So you guys got two Arturos on the mic right now.
That's true. Man, you just blew my cover. No one knows me as Arturo.
One too many in a room, right? There's going to be some crazy stuff happening. So mentioned Art Fernandez. Pleasure to be here. This is my 25th year in the business, man.
25 years.
25 years. And so, my running joke always in classes when people see me is like, what were you, 10 when you started? Yeah, pretty much. I was 16 years old, started in high school working for a friend and mentor. And I got into the game with a parent who had been in the business. And so when I started working for our family friend, my perception of real estate was like, hey, this is like, stupid. I'm gonna just be honest with you guys, right? So my father, rest his soul, was not a good agent.
Okay? Oh, so your dad was?
My dad was a realtor, and I'm gonna just lay it out there for you guys and give it to you straight. Man, we was always broke.
Yeah.
Like, poor
says
broke.
No agent ever.
Like, dumb broke. I'm gonna level with you guys, all right? Like, utilities cut off. Got to go stay with grandma because shit is bad. And look, God rest his soul. He was a Marine, Vietnam veteran. He had a different mentality, which I'll talk about later, right? So when I started working for Janice, our family friend, it was a completely new and different experience for me, right? I'm 15, almost 16 years old, in high school, thinking I'm Mr. Cool Thing. And I start hanging out with this Janice. I love her to death. Janice is in her late 70s, still slanging real estate.
Wait, that wasn't the foreclosure queen, was it?
No.
What was her name? I forgot her. I can't remember her name.
Some other ones, yeah.
Okay.
Janice is like this 4 foot tall, loving, sweet, amazing little Norwegian.
Yeah.
And then when I started working with her, her whole attitude and disposition towards people was something completely new to me.
Really?
Right. Well, like culturally,
yeah.
I'm Mexican, if you can't tell, Hispanic, Latino, whatever you want to call it. Janice just treated people with like this next level of respect and love and care that was like new to me. And I would just wonder, like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? So 16 years old, right, guys, mid-90s, I don't know my ass from my elbow. And Janice starts asking me to do all these things, and laugh if you want, I used to have to make flyers for flyer boxes. That was a big thing. I used to have to type that stuff up on like a Word document. Yep. Go get the photos processed at Walgreens, and then tape the photo to the flyer and make Xerox copies, right? Old school stuff.
Yeah.
So mid-90s I started, and from my experience with my father and then shifting to Janice, it took a minute, and my whole perspective, if you knew me back then, was I'm never gonna do this.
Yeah.
This is dumb. Why would anybody want to work like this? And just the ups and the downs and the craziness that I had started to see around the office with some of the experienced agents, not knowing what I didn't know, right?
Yeah.
And so, man, Janice started having me at 16, 17 years old, right, guys? In mid-90s, there's no rules about underaged or unlicensed assistants, cold calling, door knocking. There was no rules at that time.
Yeah.
So she gave me a phone book, said, call these people, say this. Go knock on these doors, say this.
Yeah.
And I shared this part with you guys in some other sessions. Man, Janice offered me in the 90s a really nice hourly wage. Plus she would incentivize me by paying me per appointment and then paying me per closing.
Dang.
So shortly after I turned 18, I was like, all right, I'm in. So I started selling late 90s, early 2000. And it's been a really cool journey because in my experience, I've gotten to be a part of over 1,700 transactions, helping folks, right? So I get to share a lot of firsthand experience of, please do as I say. not as I've done. If you do it the way I've done, trust me, there's challenges with it, right? And I'll share some of that later as well. Janice was always a big advocate of like, hey, the more you learn, the more you earn. So I remember specifically, guys, in 1998, the end of 98, if you guys have read, there's an awesome book out there called Traction by Gino Wickman. Okay. Super cool. Great read. In 1998, 99, I did the first training installment called Sweat Hogs. And it was written by Gino's father, Floyd Wickman.
Yeah.
Now, this is old school, guys. So this was they're home, they're happy, they want to list with me. I'm a lean, mean selling machine, right? They're home, they're happy, they want to sell with me. So it's some crazy stuff. And I don't know what I don't know at that time. Like I said, Janice was compensating me nice financially. We were having a lot of success. So I just did it.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it. And man, since then, like I said, I've probably been a part of over a dozen different training curriculums.
Wow.
I've done the Bold installment 3 different times, instructed the Camp 443 stuff for one of the brokerages, the other Ignite installment. I teach that still to this day. I've done this Abundant Warrior series, which was super cool. I've done some Tony Robbins stuff. I've done the Tom Ferry stuff.
Yeah.
I've done the ninja selling stuff. And it's been a really neat journey over 25 years to know when I get to share with people, it's not something I read in a book.
Yeah.
It's not some video I watched and am giving you some hypotheticals about this could work. I'm telling you, if you plan the work and work the plan and are intentional with it, it really does work.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of what. So long answer, that's who I am. I've got a beautiful wife named Rebecca. We have a basketball +1 team of children at home, and man, it's a good time.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's cool. So selling real estate, you're part of a team, right? Or you and your wife have a team?
Just my wife and myself, yeah.
And you're a real estate coach. How long have you been coaching for?
So I started coaching back when the market changed, when the market shifted back in 07, 08. Some of you weren't born, just flow with me. We switched brokerages. And so part of my journey has been, I've worked with some of what people would consider the largest franchise brokerages in town. And from about 08 to today, I've worked with the 3 largest, as I've mentioned, in some kind of capacity of educator, trainer. And in that 08 market change and shift, we moved companies to another franchise that had a completely different model. And so guys, I grew up in what people would consider a traditional real estate model, where it was like, you just pay this and do your thing, right? So in that 08 shift, when we changed and coming to a different brokerage, the mentality there was one of abundance.
Yeah.
There was people gathering in rooms, sharing all their ideas and strategy. And I sat back and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Why are these people telling each other what they're doing? Like, aren't they afraid that these people are going to poach in on their business? And again, the concepts of abundant mentality and the reality of there's enough business out there for everybody really started setting in. And so in that late 08 year, I got into coaching. And at this brokerage, they had asked me, with your experience, Mr. Fernandez, what don't you like the most? All right. So if you're listening out there and you're one of our clients, please don't take offense to this. I was like, I don't like buyers. they suck. They take too much time. Like, blah. So they're like, great. Why don't you teach the buyer consultation class for us? I'm like, oh, well, cool. Right. And I love the concept that they laid out for me. They're like, if you really want to master something, teach it. Teach it. So it was in that late 08, 09 year that I got into coaching and then started coaching and development for one of the franchises here in town. And it quickly went from teaching 1 class to like 10 classes a month and doing some other stuff for them. Got exposed to some really amazing national coaches that I started doing some development and working with. So from about that 08 timeframe, so 12, 13, almost 14 years that I've been helping agents with development.
Nice. Well then, shoot, man, let's jump right into the questions. Actually, real quick, I got to say this and plug it in. Please make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe, okay? We're trying to build up this audience. We've got some great questions I'm going to go over with Art right now, but please just make sure you like, share, and subscribe, okay? We're also on YouTube, so make sure you subscribe on there. Let's start off with the first question, bro. Your credentials, you've mentioned you've been in the business for 25 years. What do you specialize in coaching wise? Like what is your niche when it comes to coaching agents? Is there a certain style you're looking for, or that you go for with your agents? Is there a certain agent type that you're looking for?
Man, that's a good question.
You know, like what would you say is your niche when it comes to coaching? What does that perfect coachable agent look like to you?
I love that. Okay. Remember I said if I offend you, I'm not sorry. I can coach anybody who's hungry.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
You can't teach hungry. That's the thing too,
You can't
man.
teach hungry. And so look, again, I caveated that with if I offend you, I'm not sorry. If you are in real estate because you like looking at houses, I'm not your guy. If you are in real estate because it's a fun hobby and you're going to do it part-time, I'm not your guy.
Preach.
I can't help part-time agents. You part-time it, you get part-time. What's the saying, right? You half-ass anything, you get half-ass results.
Yep.
I'm not your guy. I love people who are hungry, right? And when I say hungry, people who have a big reason behind why they need to succeed. And maybe that's a single mom, a single dad. Maybe that's somebody coming out of corporate America. Maybe that's somebody getting into that retirement phase of life and got tired of working for the man and wants to develop something on their own. My niche has been, over the last 12 plus years, really the newer, seasoned plus agents who are trying to break over like that $7-8 million lid, right? Or if they're in that $5 to $8 million kind of range and they're really trying to break through that ceiling, that's been my specialization. The last couple of years, like I said, guys, remember I'm in the trenches with you, so I take a lot of pride in, not to bash other coaches or other people who are doing training and stuff out there, but this is shit that I'm in with you.
Yeah.
Like I'm out there dealing with people trying to get me to discount. I'm out there dealing with people trying to work other angles for whatever it is that they think is their best benefit. I like working with other agents who have big reasons why. My big reason why, I said it jokingly, Becca and I have 6 beautiful kids. Y'all know, if y'all have kids, how expensive those mofos are, okay? Y'all ever try to buy Jordans for 6 kids? That is expensive. Right?
Yeah,
They
that's
get
true.
in some Mercado Jordans. I like agents who are looking to succeed and understand that real estate is basic. There is no get-rich-quick scheme. If you've come into the business the last few years, it is going to be different moving forward. It's just gonna be. If you haven't, I love if those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it, right? Well, real estate and economics are cyclical. What goes up must come down, except home prices in San Antonio, right? So coachable agents are people who understand real estate is basic, but they fully grasp that when we're gonna work together, I'm not reinventing the wheel. And what I mean by that is, look, first and foremost, you guys, if you've been to any of my sessions, you know I always talk about mindset.
Yeah.
Because I do believe wholeheartedly, if your mind ain't right, nothing else will be.
Yeah.
And when you're in business for yourself, you have to understand that the way you start the day, the way that you tackle the day, it like seeps out.
Yeah.
And I believe even people can feel that through your tonality on the phone call. And I'm going to talk about some other stuff in a second, but that's why I don't like text messages.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, bro, I'm with you on
I don't know if you're
that.
sassing me. I don't know if you're being a smart ass.
Yeah.
Like, I'll talk about the phone stuff in a minute. Mindset is so fundamental for me. People who can wrap their mind around systems.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be all of them. We just have to find something that works for you. And, I love that you asked me about my credentials. Part of what I flow with with clients, agents who want to get into coaching is like, man, look, I don't have some cut, rinse and repeat, one mold fits all style.
Yeah.
Right? If you're a door knocking, cold calling fool like I was, man, I got you. If you want to do more social media stuff because that's your comfort zone, I got you. Like there's just different strokes for different folks. I need people to understand fundamentally it's basic. It's about the mindset, it's about the systems, and it's about accountability. And that's what my program is really about, accountability. And think about it, guys. Think about it. You have Olympic athletes.
Yeah.
You have world-class renowned athletes. They all have coaches.
Yep.
And there's a reason for that, right? It's, are they really being taught anything new, or is it for that high level of accountability of performing to the maximum of their potential?
Yeah.
Right? Like, did Greg Popovich really teach Tim Duncan anything? I mean, with plays and stuff.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But as far as like the fundamentals of shooting and passing and blocking, like those were his skills, right? He was an amazing athlete because of his skill set. He was, MVP and going to be Hall of Famer because of his ability to be coached.
Yeah.
Right. So
it's true. And I think that's a really big thing that you're talking about right there is the accountability aspect, because oftentimes I get asked that question from agents, like what's something that you can recommend to a newer agent or a somewhat seasoned agent, and I always tell them coaching, get into coaching, accountability. And then of course I always refer them to you, but it's in my opinion, coaching can help take your business to the next level. I think the big problem that I see, which I can only imagine how often you see it, is a lot of agents don't want to be held accountable.
They don't. Nobody wants to, and I don't take offense to it, right? And think about this, guys. If you're listening, whether you're selling and thinking about coaching or wherever you're at with your business, that's fine. It's your business. If you don't want to be held accountable, that's on you. The truth is, I don't think you know what you're missing.
Yeah.
And I do. Every year, people fall off. Like, they start off strong, and I get like a solid 30, 60, maybe 90 days. And then they tank.
That new car smell?
Yeah, and then they tank. And then, later on, they come back, and they're like, well, I think I'm ready to get going again. I'm like, well, hey, my roster's full. Like, hey, what do you want me to do? Like, I can only help so many people, right? Still running a sales business, managing 6 kids. Like, we're going to talk about that work-life balance in a while. The accountability is again, huge because I get it. We went into business for the freedom, for the flexibility, right? I want to come and go as I please. And I post the question to people, man, when we're doing some mindset stuff. I ask them simply, what is real freedom?
Yeah.
Is it coming and going as you please and choose and all that chuck and jive, like I slept in late today, whatever? Or is it walking outside of that paid off vehicle?
Yeah.
Right? Is it walking into your first investment home?
Yeah.
And all that comes through high levels of accountability. And look, the reality is there's people out there who succeed at high levels, super high levels, without any kind of accountability.
Yeah.
Those are unicorns, and that's super cool. We're going to talk more about that, though, with the work-life balance, because personally, I believe there's a difference there.
Yeah, for sure.
So, the accountability part is so much of what bears around, and not reinventing the wheel, helping people realize if they want what they say they wanted, well, they got to work for it.
Yeah. Well, so, okay, that's true. What do you do with, let's say an agent signs up a coaching with you, and they're not surrendering? Because I always talk about that too. When it comes to coaching, it's one thing to finally make the decision as a real estate agent and say, you know what? I want to take my business serious. I want to take it to the next level. I want to be held accountable. I want to hire a business coach, but then they're not surrendering, right? Or they think they know it all already.
Yeah.
So now you got to battle that mindset of them thinking they know it all, and they're only hurting themselves. I've often talked to agents that have said, oh yeah, I've tried coaching, it doesn't work for me, or it's not for me. And my initial thought is, okay, he or she probably didn't surrender to the idea of actually being coached and being held accountable. Like it requires, in my opinion, when it comes to being coached, especially in real estate, because here's the thing about real estate, man. Us as real estate agents, once we kick ass, we think we're above everybody.
Yeah.
That's the perception that is given on social media. That's the idea that a lot of agents start to take in, is that, oh, I'm invincible or I'm untouchable. So now wait a second, you want me to pay you to coach me, to hold me accountable, to critique me, to give me constructive criticism? It's like, bro, like I have seen so many agents go down that path to where it's like, bro, like you're always going to hit that plateau, in my opinion, and you're going to stay there because you're not willing to surrender yourself to being held accountable and to being open to constructive criticism without taking offense to it.
No, I love that, man. That's such a good perspective. I love your verbiage of that there, the surrendering part of it. So when I initially sit down with somebody to talk about coaching, our initial meeting is really a get to know you and talk more about the nuts and bolts of how it works, the customization, what they're hoping to accomplish or take away from it. One of the first things that they get asked to do is a super basic self-assessment.
Yeah.
Right? It's like 4 pages, maybe 30 questions, a couple of questions you have to write answers to. There's people that take like a month to get that back to me.
Yeah.
I know from the
that
get-go,
tells you right then and there.
not a good fit for me.
I would imagine that's the initial test right
or
there.
Or they get it back to me, and if they're experienced, they give me nothing. Like they give me the nuts and like they give me crumbs based on like what they could share from where they're at.
Yeah.
So we have honest conversations, right? And that's why in my program I've had people come and I've had people go because they don't like the fact that I really don't have a filter and I don't have time for people's bullshit. If you're not gonna,
or for their feelings,
or for your feelings, right? And look, I mean this respectfully because if my wife's listening, she's gonna slap me later. I say this all the time in business. In business, your feelings are fickle.
Yeah.
Right? My feelings, my heart is for my family.
Yeah.
My brains and my guts are for my business. And in that, I have to be able to be coachable. So I love the word that you said there, surrender. If people aren't willing to like really immerse in, I give them weekly challenges. And sometimes it's 2 things, sometimes it's like 5 things. And if they can't do them and they come in every week with their excuse, after a couple weeks, I'm like, hey, this just isn't a good fit. And I don't take offense to it.
Yeah.
I don't take offense to the fact that you didn't do the shit that you said you wanted to do to make the money you said you wanted to make, to take care of the bills, people, or whatever other goals you said you may or may not have had. Then to me, they weren't real.
Yeah.
Not real enough for you to...
They didn't mean enough.
Mean enough for you to stop making excuses.
Yeah.
And in respects to the people like who won't just give in and surrender, there's some that I think it's pretty clear with time they will. Yeah. And there's a vast majority of the rest that just never will. Yeah. They won't get out of their own ways and they'll stay where they're at. They'll stay where they're at, right? And think about it, guys. If you know me, I share with everybody, I've had a handful of coaches. Yeah. And they're amazing people because I know 25 years later, over 1,700 home sales, I know what I know and I know what I don't know. Yeah. And I know enough to know the difference of, I like to talk to somebody who's more experienced than me. Yeah. Right. And one of the coaches that we're working with, 40 plus year veteran, owns like 6 real estate market centers in the Northwest, a major business mogul, like on all sorts of the spectrums of business related things. And I love talking with him because his insights are powerful. When things are challenging, he'll say things just as bluntly, maybe more professionally and tactful than I will. Yeah. You know, hey, the ship is sinking. What are you going to do? West to where I'm just like, get off your ass. Like, you're being lazy, you know? It's been a fruitful market. It's going to change, so it's going to require more effort from you. So maybe coaching isn't for you. Maybe it is. And look, the truth is, this is not a plug for our coaching program. If you're interested, cool. You don't know me anything. You guys don't know anybody else anything. But if you're in business, you owe it to yourself to look into it, to see if it could be something.
Or to your family.
To whoever matters, right? And you owe it to yourself and those who matter in your life to explore the options. Yeah. Because if it wasn't a viable source of generating more business, smarter practices, then there wouldn't be coaches. And take your time. Take your time. Meet the different coaches. Check into their styles, check into their credentials. And again, look, lovingly, if they've never sold or they haven't sold shit in the last 10 years, it's not as relevant. Yeah. They haven't had to deal with what we've dealt with. The last
shit changes every month.
The last 2 years were unprecedented, right? None of us have dealt with what we dealt with the last 2 years. I don't care if you're 40, 50-year veteran, right? Nobody has dealt with what we saw the last 2 years in the, face of a global pandemic and crazy real estate stuff. Like nobody knew that. So you should be in the mindset of understanding that if I really want to grow, sometimes it's a little uncomfortable and I got to be okay with being uncomfortable. And the whole no pressure, no diamond. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. So I guess ask yourself, how bad do you really want to take it to the next level? Or how bad do you really want to succeed? And could it be an option with the right person to grow? Yeah.
So let me ask you this. How do you handle, I'm sure you've had to come across agents that you coach that where they are expecting some type of gratitude or pat on the back, because let me share with you real quick. One of the best coaching sessions I had with my coach back in, I'll never forget this, man. It was like an aha moment for me. I believe it was July of 2016. I used to be in the core coaching program and shit, the core's not easy, man. Yeah. Like there's only a few in San Antonio that are part of it and they're the top of the top, and I was paying $3,000 a month for coaching and it's very expensive. And on top of that, your ass is getting chewed out every week, every other week. And man, I'll never forget, every coaching call would go on, they would put you, I was a level 3 student, so they would put you with 2 other agents that were doing similar production size as you were, but around the country, right? So I had an agent out of Tennessee and an agent out of Maine, and we were all similar in production volume. And I remember every coaching call was getting chewed out, man. Like at some point, sometimes it was a little demoralizing, right? But I remember July of 2016, gosh, I could be wrong, could be June, but 2016, I was having an amazing month, right? Till this day, best month ever. Had 18 contracts in escrow, right? So it was 18 contracts for a little over 72 grand in gross commission income. I mean, it was a slam dunk month, right? And I remember getting ready for my coaching call, and I was just like, oh man, and my coach, amazing. She's out of the Woodlands. I was like, oh, she's gonna, like I'm gonna bomb this coaching call. Like I'm gonna bomb this, right? Like she's gonna, literally thinking like she's gonna pat me on the back through our coaching call. And bro, like I'm going over my numbers and everything on the call, and she starts critiquing the shit out of me, right? Where she starts pointing out, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not prospecting enough. I'm not hitting my hours on cold calling. I'm not doing this. And I was just like, I felt defeated. By the end of the coaching call, I felt like defeated because I'm thinking like, man, I'm coming off of my best month of my career ever. And she just pretty much told me this still isn't enough. And I'll never forget, after the coaching call ended, she called me up and she was like, you're not paying me $3,000 a month to pat you on the back. She's like, that's what you get all those little awards for there in San Antonio. She was like, you're paying me $3,000 a month to hold your ass accountable. She was like, if you can continuously close 18 transactions every single month, she was like, then maybe I'll start patting you on the back.
I love that. Yeah.
And sure enough, she was right, bro. I was so consumed in the 18 deals I had in escrow that I didn't focus on August. And sure enough, August came around. Guess what? I only had 3 closings. And I mean, which is still good. I'm not saying like, oh, 3 closings ain't shit. But from 18 to 3, it was like, damn, she was right. And man, that was probably the best coaching call I ever had because she humbled me. She brought me back down to reality. And that's why she says, she's like, I'm not going to give you, what do you want me to give you? A participation award? She was like, that's what you get your awards for that you get there in San Antonio.
No, I like that.
She was like, I'm holding your ass accountable. And man, it was just like, oh, thank you,
So it's interesting, right? Because in the last 7 years being with my wife, she has constantly challenged me to not be a big of an asshole. Like daily, she's like, babe, please don't be an asshole. Babe, don't be an asshole to people. Babe, be nice to people. Babe, don't be an asshole, right? Like daily, guys, daily. And if you guys know Rebecca, she is like one of the sweetest people in the world. There was a time in coaching too, I think at the beginning phases where I was really hard on people, like super hard on people. And what I believe now and what I've tried to implement more strategically is understanding that because everybody does work differently and different people's love languages are fundamental in coaching and in sales, right? If you haven't read 7 Levels of Intimacy, you're learning your love languages and all that. It matters even for sales.
Oh, hell yeah.
And so one of the biggest ways that I've retained a lot of coaching clients for years is the relationships that we've built that are around mutual trust, understanding that some people do need a little pat on the back. And, we got a friend in the room with us, and he's one of many that could attest while they're having great months. One of my questions is always like, well, hey man, that's awesome. What's next? Like, let's have a tough talk here. Shit happens, and you could go from 18 closings to 1. You could go from 1 closing to none. And I love what you said there, man. If you get too caught up in what you got going on, then maybe we need to talk about outsourcing and delegating some responsibilities. Well, Art, I'm a micromanager. I don't let anybody handle my shit. Well, let's talk about that and see how that goes. Because I've got some truths to drop on you about all that. So, man, I tell people, here's the truth. You need me to be your cheerleader, I'll be your little cheerleader. But it's kind of like if you're going to bitch, whine, or complain about things that are going wrong, you guys have heard me make the reference. I call it the 5-second funeral. Look, there's challenges. There's things that come up all the time. You get 5 seconds to bitch, whine, moan, or complain. You get 5 seconds to ride your high horse, pat you on the back. I'll do a dance with you. I'll do whatever the hell you want. And then let's move on, because if something happens, you're responsible for your business, right? You're a single parent. You got kids to provide for. You're just a single person who aspires for greatness. You got shit to take care of. Like, don't miss the forest for the trees just because thinking like, I'm going to have this awesome month. So, man, I like being able to be supportive to people in a way that's meaningful to them. I just say it's got to be short-lived. And we got to move on. Yeah. Because tomorrow isn't promised, and neither are your contracts.
That's true. And no one's going to feel sorry for you in this business.
Too much of our business is out of our hands. Yeah. Right? How many of us have had stupid clients go buy some shit before closing? How many of us have worked with horrible LOs that the week before there's a
I can't talk on that because I got a ton of clients on my Facebook that might be watching.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I'll remain anonymous for those people who shouldn't be named. So, you know, and I love it, man, because you're right. You know, our recent coach, he was, man, just super caring in the way that he responded to things, which was really meaningful to Rebecca, because she doesn't respond to hard press, hard ass, get up and do it shit. I mean, she's my wife and she doesn't do anything that I tell her for coaching business wise. And if she's listening, I'm sorry in advance. To her, I'll apologize, right? But our coach, it was very evident that he knew. Talking to me, there was a few calls that I've had that were just he and I. He talks to me very different than he talks when it's her and I. For the purpose of knowing that, look, different strokes, different folks. You got to connect. You guys have all heard it. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So, you know, if you want to go into boot camp, go into boot camp, and that works for you, that's awesome. If you need some different tactics, and that's where, again, the importance of who you're going to work with for coaching. And if it's not coaching, even if it's peer groups, right? Sit at the winner's table, get around people who are like-minded in the heart set, in the headset, so that you know it's not a toxic environment. Because if you're very sensitive, one, it's going to be a tough ride for you. So you got to get some thick skin. You know, there's opportunities there for you to surround yourself with other people who could help push you in a forward direction in a meaningful and productive way that doesn't feel demeaning to you. Yeah. It just all depends, again, why the hell are you doing this?
Yeah,
you know, like,
that's true.
What's your reason behind wanting this?
That's true. You know, I'll say this. I think that growing up, you know, my stepdad came in the picture and married my mom when I was 8. And he was that father figure for me. You know, like he was the one that was stern on me. He was hard on me. You know, he was always grilling me. Like, I mean, he held me accountable to the T. And I fucked up a lot, especially when I got in my teenage years. Like, I think I rebelled, if anything. But he taught me my mannerisms. He taught me, you know, own your shit, you know, like own it. You fuck up, own it, you know? And so he taught me a lot of good qualities, but the best takeaway, rest in peace. But the biggest takeaway I could ever take from him was that, you know, be open to being held accountable. You know, he didn't really say that to me, but that's what he said in other ways, through his love language, I should say, maybe, right?
Through his love language of ass whoopings, right?
And I'll tell you right, exactly. I'll tell you right now, my most favorite book of all time is The 5 Love Languages. Whenever someone asks me, what book would you recommend? I always say The 5 Love Languages and Raving Fans. Those are the 2 books that I always fall back to, man. And you're right, like the 5 love, you kind of touched on it, the 5 love languages, bro, not only is it eye-opening for your personal life, your love life, you know, with your significant other, but with business. Because once you read that book and you actually understand it, not just read it to read it, but actually understand the book, bro, like now you have so much more of a clear understanding of identifying what your client's love language is. You know, and oftentimes I can tell you right now, if anyone's never read this book, I can tell you right now, and if you're in a relationship or if you're married, I guarantee you there's a good chance you're feeding your significant other your love language and not their love language. And I do believe that that's also some contribution, possibly even a large contribution to divorces right now, because people they fall in love, they get together and they want to be with each other, and it's just, you know, great phase, and then shit falls apart, and now it's like, oh, I don't like the way you spoke to me last night, or you know, whatever it may be, but they're feeding each other their own love language, and that's what's making their relationship fall apart too. You know, granted, I know finances tend to be the biggest root of divorces, but again, love language is a big component. So I think that in business, confidence, when you are able to identify that in your client in your initial consultation, oh, bro, like I disc profile everybody.
And that's cool. That's what I was going to say, right?
Yeah.
Some people, it's more like of the disc. Some people, it's more of the references to the Enneagram. Some of it's because they've read the love languages. Man, we're in a people business.
Yeah.
And you know, I'll talk about this more in a few. We're in a people business. And if you don't really get to know the people who you potentially could help, then what separates you from the other 14,000 people who are in our industry?
Yeah.
When I started in the 90s, guys, there was like 2,700 realtors.
Wow.
Right? It was good times, right? And now there's what, 14,000?
17. I think
17,000.
There was 4,500 agents when I got in.
To me, right? So when people talk to me about how do you stand out, well, don't suck as a person.
Yeah.
Right?
So, bro, I got to touch on this because my boy Ruben, I had him on as a guest a couple of weeks ago, and he actually asked that question. It's going right into what you're talking about. So he said, I would like to hear someone talk about carefully in the industry from the inside, how we can be better as agents. What are the perceptions of an agent? i.e. used car salesman, how to spot a good agent. So I guess he's coming from a consumer standpoint.
No, I love that.
Right, where it's like, how can that buyer or that seller identify this is a good, solid agent that I would want to work with, you know? And I love that question. I'll tell you right now. First off, be authentic, right? Don't be afraid to be yourself. You know, don't lie. You know, always come from a place of contribution. I always talk about lead with value. You know, the worst thing you can do is show through your actions that all you care about is your paycheck.
No, I love that.
That's the worst thing you can do as an agent.
This kind of feeds into that question about, you know, what are some common errors I see? And this kind of flows with what you're sharing there. One of the biggest things that I see that people fuck up on is they treat this like a job. Not a business.
Yeah, man.
And
so
let me just, this is a horrible analogy, but like if you owned a deli shop making sandwiches, if your sandwiches suck, people wouldn't come back.
Yeah.
If you didn't, like you were saying, if you didn't care about the quality of your breads, the quality of your meats, the quality of your produce, people aren't going to come back because your product sucks.
Yeah.
So I love that question, Ruben. If you want to talk about, there's so many things that we get caught up in doing that we're not thinking about the future focus. If you think about, and I love you said the word authentic there, right? I kind of referenced and touched on, man, really get to know people.
Yeah.
And I get it. Some people are like brick walls. They won't give you a whole lot of anything. Well, that's cool. But if you keep asking, eventually everybody talks.
Yeah.
I told you guys I was raised by a hard-ass crazy Marine, and I've dealt with, thankfully, a lot of military folks over the years. Some of them who are these amazing veterans who are struggling with, you know, PTSD and some other things from their combat service. Some of them are hard to like connect with initially. If I'm authentic, if I'm genuine with wanting to try to get to really know how I can best serve them, I've connected with all of them on some level at some point.
Yeah.
On different levels. And so I love that book. But I'm a big John Maxwell fan. He has that great book that Great Consultants Ask Great Questions. And if you want to really know how to spot a good agent, if you're a consumer out there listening, connect with somebody who asks you questions more related around you. If you're an agent out there, ask more related questions around I talked about the 6 connection questions, right?
Yeah.
So remember, the 6 connection questions are simply, who are they? What do they want or need to do, right? The who, the what do they need or want to do? Where do they need or want to do it? Why do they need to want or do it? When do they need to want or do it? And how do they plan to do it?
Yeah.
Right? If I spend time trying to just go through these 6 questions with somebody, I'm really trying to learn about them, right? So you may have heard that common Ford method, right?
Yeah.
When you connect with people, talk about their family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. I've sat around and listened to my 14-year-old bust this out on one of his ladies' friends' parents, right? I was like, I don't know whether to high-five him or punch him in the ribs. But I was like,
with the
damn
parent in-laws, the future in-laws.
This kid's worked with me since he was in a bassinet, so I get it, right? Him and my 20-year-old learned by osmosis. Look, whether you use the Ford method to connect with people authentically and genuinely, or the 6 connecting questions about the who, the what, the where, the why, the when, and the how, you should have some sort of system where you ask questions.
Yes.
Too many agents show up and throw up.
Yep.
They're look at me, I have an app, look at me.
They talk about their credentials.
Yeah.
They talk about how much houses they've sold. They talk about how long they've been in the business. They talk about the awards that they get. Most people don't give a shit.
Me.
Yeah.
Me. If you really want to serve others, find out the 6 connection questions. If you need those again, message me. I'll send them to you. I didn't invent them. They're in like thousands of books. I have it as a PDF. I'll shoot it to you and use it when you connect with people and be intentional about it, because I'm going to say this. And again, look, whatever, if you're offended, 14,000 realtors in the next year. I'm hoping that at least 2,000 or 3,000 of them are gone.
Yeah. Oh, there'll be more gone.
That's the reality. I don't hope, and I'm sorry if that sounded shitty. The reality is there'll be 2,000 or 3,000 gone.
Yeah.
Right? There's a reason 85% of realtors fail in the first 5 years.
Yeah.
They don't get accountable. They don't get systems. They don't get serious. They don't connect with other people, because I do believe if you take care of your business, it takes care of you. And if you're thinking about money, I know some agents in the last couple of years that have come in and all they post about is how many homes and all this shit that they sell. And I'm like, man, that's so cute. But let's see how long this lasts.
Yeah.
Let's see how long this lasts, because people, right? And think about it. We're all consumers of something.
Yeah.
We all have bullshit radars.
Yeah.
And people can only bullshit for so long.
long.
Ask more questions.
Yeah.
Be engaging. If you're a consumer, think about how meaningful of an effort the person that you're interviewing to potentially be your agent is with their engagements with you. As an example, when I share my 15 ways to ace a listing class, I show our seller consultation. I literally give the consumer, here are 12 questions you should ask me throughout this meeting.
Yeah.
I'm going to cover these 12
now you're
for you.
tailoring it to your game plan.
How long have I been doing this? What are my goals? How am I going to help you? I'm telling them specifically the things that they should know. And if it's not just from me, if they're interviewing, they should at least ask these questions from whomever they're considering, trusting, selling their home with.
Very true.
Right. And so
I got to say this, man. So, I love how you talked about Ford, because coincidentally, Donald, weren't we doing Ford in our meeting yesterday? We did some Ford training, and I told everyone, I was like, all right, spend 5 minutes, partner up, and Ford each other.
Yeah.
2.5 minutes you Ford that person, 2.5 minutes you Ford that person. But I also want you to tie into your questions make yourself relate to them as quickly as possible.
Absolutely.
Right? Because I'll say this, my biggest strength when agents ask me, what would you say your biggest strength is? My biggest strength is connecting to people.
Yeah.
And I do that, now it comes natural, but I do that intentionally, right? And what I mean by that is like how you're talking about, you also touched on this. When I go on a listing appointment, I already have my pre-listing questionnaire already filled out.
Yeah.
Right? My pre-listing questionnaire is done over the phone with the prospective client, I should say, before I go on the appointment. I'm asking them questions like, how old is the roof? How old is the AC?
Sure.
When you plan on selling, where do you plan on moving to? All the good questions that I need to know to tailor up my game plan. And then I go into my listing appointment, and I already know everything I need to know. Now my listing appointment, we're going to talk numbers, right? Also, one of my questions in my pre-listing questionnaire is, have you sold a home before?
Yeah.
Because I want to know, and if so, how long ago? I want to know how I should tailor my appointment with the seller. And when I go into my listing appointment, my goal, I always make it a goal, is I need to build a relationship and relate to this client as quickly as possible. I try to do it within the first few minutes. Yeah. I will start doing something. So I always start off, I'm sharing with y'all literally my game plan. Now, when I go into a listing appointment, obviously we greet each other, and I always start off with, can you show me around the home so I can get a feel for the floor plan, right? So as they're showing me around, especially if I recognize the floor plan, I've been selling real estate for over 12 years now. If it's a floor plan I've sold before, I bring that up, right? Oh, I'm familiar with this floor plan. I've sold it X amount of times, And then that already, really? Okay, now I'm getting their attention, right? But I keep referring back to this listing appointment I had back in May. It was in my neighborhood, of course, and I walk in, and there's a family picture in the living room with the whole family, and Pastor Ed. And so I was like, right when I walk in,
Yeah.
I introduce myself and I say, okay, can we start with you showing me the floor plan?
Sure.
Then I use my thing. I was like, oh, this is the 2805 floor plan. I've sold this one like 6 times. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah. So then next thing, oh, y'all are CBCers? And they're like, you go to CBC? I was like, yeah, I love Pastor Ed. Bro, this happened within 2 minutes.
Sure.
And right then and there, like I already had won them over.
Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't me lying. It wasn't me
Being authentic,
being, just trying to get a deal. No, I was being authentic.
Sure.
I was telling the truth. I really do go to CBC and I really do love Pastor Ed. So it caught my attention naturally. It wasn't so much strategically, it was naturally. It excited me when I saw that.
It was part of that programming in your systems
Yes,
that through
it's
years
programmed.
and experience,
Yes.
you knew that you had a so to speak, agenda of
Yeah.
how to try to connect with them. And then you saw that there was some similarities to connect. If you weren't intentional about it, you would have done the and y'all know me, if y'all been around any of my sessions, I am not an but liker. Anybody who's in development and education that cannot speak freely and flow and but likes you should turn away and run.
Yeah.
I love what you're saying there. And I think, when we had a session a few weeks ago at your office, we did a short little session on the Ford. And I love the example AJ just gave. And what I wanted you guys listening to take away, though, is remember, sometimes these connections happen quickly, and sometimes they take time and work.
Yeah.
So if you're in a sales consulting business, don't be afraid to put in the work.
Yeah.
And think on the fact that, look, our industry has changed. There's a lot of major mogul teams out there who are dominating the webs.
Yeah.
Right? They're dominating all the socials, and nothing can trump your ability to create personal connections.
Yeah. That's true.
Be intentional with your efforts. Be intentional with your tactics on how you want to engage. And here's a hard lesson that I want to share with you that I hope you take from this. Fucking listen when somebody's talking.
Amen.
I don't know how many people
the biggest problem.
sit in classes or that I've seen sitting around on their damn phone.
Yeah.
I have sat in with some of the top producing agents, brokers, locally and nationally. And these top producing 100 million plus realtors, team leaders, brokers, they, for whatever 30 minutes or hour that we're meeting, they don't touch their phone. You're going to tell me that you're so busy you can't go a 90-minute class session or a 60-minute meeting without touching your phone?
Yeah.
That's where I get into, again, setting the boundaries and understanding that either you run your business or it runs you. If you're in the industry, guys, look, my advice to you is get a coach, get at least an accountability partner. When you do that, do your due diligence. Think about people who are good blends with you. If it doesn't challenge you, it isn't going to change you. You don't just need a cheerleader. You need somebody who's going to give you some tough love in a meaningful way that'll help you push forward. Don't surround yourself with what I call, negative Nellies or the freaking energy trolls that are just out there bitching every day about real estate's tough and market is changing and the rates are so high, nobody's going to buy. I bought my first home in the 90s. My interest rate was 9.875 on an ARM, which means my interest rate went up the first 2 years. So I was in the 10s by the time I refinanced. I was 19. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Okay. And it is challenging. It's different. Be intentional with how you connect, who you connect with, and then for the love of baby Jesus, follow up.
Yeah.
If you say you're going to do something,
Do it.
do it.
Yeah.
Too many people overpromise and underdeliver. Reinvesting in your business is so key because I still suck at it.
Yeah.
Becca calls me all the time. Well, how much did we put back? What are we putting in? I'm like, huh? What? I don't know. That reinvesting part is a fundamental key, and kind of the points that I was talking about, like with other teams dominating the internet online presences. If you've been in the business, think about what is working for you and be intentional with investing in the things that have been working for you. Stop trying to go fish in new waters when you know that the waters are plush and bountiful in the ocean, sea, whatever the hell you've been fishing in. But maybe you got to throw some bait in there to fatten up the fish, and you got to get them, swimming around you and all that good stuff.
So that makes a great point segueing into this question we got from Belinda. It says, where did it go? Hold on, Belinda, I got you. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It wasn't Belinda. It was Brianna. Do you have any advice for those who feel like they're doing the correct actions, but the results aren't showing up or haven't shown up yet? Okay. So let me help. I want you to answer this, but I'm gonna give my response to this. The thing is, so keep doing those actions. Keep creating and implementing what you're doing right now, right? There's a good chance you're doing the right thing and not seeing the results because we're shifting into a different market that we're not used to, right? I think that it's the same actions that a lot of agents are doing now, and they're not used to the market we're shifting into where, yeah, you do this back in, let's just say March of last year, these actions that we might be referring to, you're seeing the instant results because it was a hot market, right?
A hot market, sure.
Now it's stabilizing. The market's stabilizing. It's cooling down and it's stabilizing. You're not seeing those results as quickly, and agents aren't used to that.
No,
agents aren't used to that because, like I've said in the past few podcasts, is that in all the agents that have gotten the business in the past 5-6 years are used to the deals falling on their lap because that's all they know. That's all they've ever known since they've gone in the business. Yeah. And so now that the market's cooling off and it's stabilizing, it's almost like a panic experience or a panic thought because it's like, well, wait a second, I'm still doing these actions that have worked for me in the past and it's not working anymore. What do I do? You know, what's going on? I think that we shouldn't stop what we're doing. Maybe add more to what we're doing, but don't stop what we're doing. If you know it's worked for you in the past, I think we just got to have a better understanding of how the market is starting to cool down, which is what I talk about in our staff meetings. You make sure we're setting the right expectations with our sellers when we go on those listing appointments. You know, don't go to your listing appointment and create that expectation of, yeah, we're going to get a bidding war. Yeah, there's a good chance we're going to sell well above asking price and waive option and waive appraisal, you know, and all those things. That's not the market anymore, you know? So if you continue to set those expectations, then you're not going to see the results that you're expecting to see because you're still stuck in 2021.
Sure.
You know?
Great question, Bree. Thanks for asking. Whether you're an agent trying to get your SOI working again, I'm new in town, I don't have an SOI, then join more social groups. And I say this to a lot of people, make more friends. Yeah. And if you're not a people person, reconsider your career. Yeah. Because maybe this isn't for you. Yeah. Not right now with the changing market, unless you have a ton of money to throw into getting internet leads, you're cultivating cold leads. Okay, that's one aspect of it. I get it. We're all, you know, like we've said, we've talked about door knocking, cold calling. If you're doing if you feel like you're doing the right things and you're not getting the results, we do have to trust the process. Here's what I talk about in coaching with people. Whatever industry you're in, if you're in the real estate industry, I talk about you have to have 5 funnels of business. You should be working in 3 to 5 focused areas of lead generation. Example, my SOI is 1, social media is 2, our neighborhood farm is 3. Those are just 3 examples. I have to ask myself on a 30, 60, and 90-day measure metrics, what am I doing intentionally for my SOI, social media, and my farm on a 30, 60, and 90-day outlook, future-focused, forward-thinking to earn business? Yeah. What can I do to get better about that, right? And that's where I talk about in some of our lead generation sessions, the message and the method. You got to add enough people as it takes, right? Because my class was all focused around the size of your database determines the size of your bank account, right? And I want to work with people who have needs, whether it's today, tomorrow, or in the future. That's the way we all need to look at it, because I was talking to somebody the other day and their analogy was people don't realize in a sales business, it's about keeping the pipeline full. It is not a faucet you turn off and on, right? And I love that analogy. So we can sit down, right? Or sit down with somebody who's a trusted advisor, somebody that you trust in your industry who is succeeding on a consistently high level, and evaluate your questionable processes. Am I doing the right things? Yeah. Could I tweak or modify my message? Because the message has to be focused around either what's happening in the market or making an offer. If you're a realtor, you have to be able to answer the question, why the hell should I hire you? Yep. And being hardworking and I'm honest with clients, man, that's like par for the course. Yeah. Everybody says that. Yeah. So that takes us into, you know, that development and fine tuning of articulating your value proposition and how do you share that with others? You said come from contribution. Yeah. I love that aspect. Yeah. What are you bringing of value to those that you're connecting with. And look, no disrespect to people who send out recipe cards. I throw them away in the mail. But if you send me something about, things to do with my kids or places that my basketball +1 team can eat for free, that's meaningful, right? You send me stuff about home maintenance. I don't know. Obviously, different things are meaningful to different people. I would say sit down with somebody, evaluate the size of your database, evaluate your 30, 60, 90-day plan in respect to your funnels, and evaluate the message, the content behind what you're saying. Are you calling just to ask for business? Because, AJ and I were talking about this before. I don't even have any LOs that call and ask me for business. And I'm just like, why would I send
Oh, they're coming back.
Yeah, now they're
coming back.
Now they're starting to contact.
Those refis are dried out, so now they're calling back now.
Now they're calling me again. I'm just like, maybe.
Yeah.
Right, maybe. Stop posting shirtless pictures on Facebook and maybe. We'll talk about that, right? I had a couple of the last few weeks that were like, hey, and I'm like, yeah, but my clients look on social media and you posted like 5, bikini pictures and 3 topless pictures. Like,
why do people get so offended with that though? That's what I'm curious about.
I'm not offended. It's just like
no. I mean, why the person that you're telling that to? Like, I've noticed that when I've tried talking about that in the past with agents in general, whether it be in my brokerage or outside the brokerage, when I'm doing one of my classes, I've noticed agents get offended when you say, be careful what you post, be careful what you post and how you present yourself, because how you present yourself can ultimately dictate if you're going to get the business or not. And that's unfortunate. I will admit that's unfortunate, but at the same time, there's a reason why some people, and man, I'm going to get some heat for this, but there's a reason why on social media, you see some people complaining about the DMs that they get.
But you're posting thirsty pictures.
Yeah, but then you see like these top producing realtors or top producing LOs, they don't have that problem.
They don't. Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Well, do those top producers post those kind of scantily photos?
Exactly. So they're not posting those type of photos. Yeah. And the people that they choose to surround themselves with on social media or their sphere don't either. So,
and think about it like this, guys. This is not a judgment. This is just the opinion of one old ass realtor guy that social media was not a thing when I started in the 90s. We had to do snail mail. We had to do door knocking.
Yep.
I had to send, Janice taught me back in the 90s, we'd have to send around 2,000 plus pieces of mail a month to get the phone to ring maybe 2 to 3 times from prospective buyers or sellers. You, with the click of a button, are touching thousands of people. So if you don't want to get hit up by all these single dudes or single chicks, then stop posting scandalous shit.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the advice that I give people. And again, look, respectfully, whatever. When I'm deciding to work with people for coaching, we talk honestly and openly about, look, from a professional perspective, don't post political or religious stuff.
I've been bad about that in the past.
You want to lose friends, family, potential clients, and a following base? Stick away from the Thirsty Thursday photos. Stick away from the religious or political things, right? Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. And look, I get social media is a huge and prevalent thing coming up in our world. One of my modes of practice that I learned a long time ago, over 12 years in coaching, was I don't read the news. I don't read I don't watch the news. I don't read the papers. I've even gotten away from social media until I'm being intentional with it because there's a lot of negative stuff.
For sure.
And
That's
what
all
did
it
I
is.
talk about from the beginning? Your mindset, your perspective on how you start the day sets the tone. And if you start with negative crap filling your head, you're already setting the heart set and mindset for how you're going out into the world.
Yeah.
And maybe you're not like a cynical person thinking like, oh, everything is horrible. Maybe you're one of those emotionally like in tune people, and it's just like saddening to you to see all the crap that goes around.
Yeah.
Bad things happen every day. We're in a business where we're trying to help other people. If you don't want to be one of these wishy-washy, I came in when the real estate market was hot, now I'm gone type people, start your day with positivity, read something, get into scripture, get into something that's more meaningful. And when you reach out to people, be somebody who wants to help other people, not just looking for a paycheck.
Yep.
And if you don't like the DMs with all the scandalous stuff, then stop being scandalous. I don't know. Be offended, unfollow me, hate me, unlike me.
It's speaking truth. It's a truth bomb right there.
Is.
I want to share with y'all one more nugget before we end this segment, y'all. Like I talked about earlier, one of my biggest strengths is connecting with people. This actually happened. I accidentally stumbled across this in a situation with a client. I'm actually friends with her on social media. In 2 instances I'll share with you. The first time it was accidental. The second time it was intentional. But it was about 10 years ago. I was out showing this client of mine, single female, young single female. At that time, the average price point was between 130, 140,000.
Ballers.
So,
Ballers, yeah.
So I'm showing her homes, and sure enough, her mom is showing up and just tearing up. The mom is the real estate expert, right? So mom is there showing up with her, tearing apart every single property that we look at, right? And the mom is also talking to her as if I'm the enemy, right? So the mom is like making comments and saying, so at one of the showings, I look at the mom and I go, look, I need you to understand I'm representing your daughter. I'm here I don't know these sellers.
Yeah.
So I need you to know that you can trust me, right? And she still kind of brushed me off, right? And I was just like, man, I cannot get through to this. Even my buyer, my client was like defending the showing, because she would be like, mom, like, and this is where I paid attention to. This is where I talk about pay close attention, right? But my client ends up saying, mom, I get it that you don't like these houses, but this is what I can afford in my budget, sure. Right? She was like, I can't afford a $500,000 home like you have. That right there I caught. And I was like, that's what it is. The mom's tearing it apart because she has higher expectations according to her lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so I was like, got her. In my head, I'm like, I got her. So sure enough, we go to a showing one day. Spurs were in the playoffs, right? And they had a game that night. And man, this was back when Ginobili was playing. So Spurs were in the playoffs, had a game that night. Mom shows up to a showing in a Spurs t-shirt. And naturally, I just asked her a question. Maybe it was intentional, but not where my mind was going, right? So I just asked her, I was like, oh, you gonna watch the Spurs game tonight? From that one question till this day, I'm friends with them all, man.
Yeah.
That one question, the client ended up buying that house.
Nice.
That we showed up to the showing to when I asked her that question. I'm not saying that t-shirt was what caused it, but it just so happened to be a good home for her. She liked it. We contracted on it. But that one question helped me realize, damn, not only do I need to focus on my client, but I need to focus on who plays that decision making
Yeah.
for the client, especially if I identify that my client's a young single person or just a young couple.
Yeah.
I need to know who's that influencer in their family, who's that real estate expert in the family,
There's
right?
one in every family.
And I want them front and center. So then from that point on, when I would go on appointments, I would tell my clients, is there anyone that's going to be involved that's going to help you make this decision?
I love that.
Right? I would love for them to attend the appointment because I'd love to address any of their concerns that they may have.
Absolutely. Love that.
Which is true, but at the same time, what I'm really trying to do is I'm like, get that negative person in front of me because I need to win them over. Just as much as you're my client and you're important to me, that person's that much more important to me because as soon as I win them over, you're going to be a cake because they're going to be my cheerleader and helping you as my client understand, let's make this decision.
Man, with that, guys, just remember one of the biggest tips and advices that I can give that go and flow with some of the other questions is in this changing market, know who your prospective people are by being more intentional, engaging.
Yep.
As an example, like with AJ's, which was so great in connecting with the mom, I am not a texter. I hate when people text me long ass paragraphs.
Yeah.
Pick up the damn phone and call somebody. You would be blown away at how many people in this day and age still want to have that good old thing called a conversation. Stop being afraid to talk to people. Art, I'm new, I don't know. Then be intentional with your market research. Read stuff. Confidence is born through preparation. Be intentional with how you talk to people and how engaging you are. If you chat with me on social media, it's going to take me like 4 weeks to respond to you, or it's going to be my wife responding, especially if there's no grammatical errors. You know it's not me, right? Because I'm not here to help you spell. I'm here to help you sell.
Amen.
And man, guys, you want to stand out, stand up and do things differently.
Yeah.
Don't fall in the pack with all the other sheep posting the same shit,
content,
same
all
content all the time. I love this little quote that I got here for you guys, and it says, "Grapes must be crushed to make wine. Diamonds form under pressure. Olives are pressed to release oil. And seeds grow in the darkness. So if you feel crushed, under pressure, pressed, or in the darkness, remember you're in a powerful place of transformation. Trust the process."
I like that.
Trust the process, guys.
Trust the process. Trust the process. All right, y'all. We're going to wrap this up. We're a little over time now. So just want to remind y'all, thank you for tuning in. But please like, share, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Sauce Podcast with AJ Reygadas. We're coming at you live from the Align Studios. I got my boy. Thank you for coming in, Art. I want to have you back because I think that we got plenty of more nuggets to share with these people.
I can talk for hours. Let me know.
So again, thank you. Y'all have a good day. Make it a blessed one and go make an impact on someone's life.
Thanks
Y'all have a good one.
Guys.